was one of the worst moments of my life. So my dad was there, my mom, and my brother. And we're just sitting on the couch in my parents' house and just watching, and just, in some ways it's surreal, it was just disbelief.
A chill went through me because I realized this is New York and that's where he was. Decided to call Dina. I thought, well, at least I'll know if she's spoken to him. I called and my heart sunk. She said, your brother's on a hijacked plane.
I lived on the 5th floor of a walk-up, about 10 city blocks from the Trade Center. Seeing the second plane hit, it was very quiet, and then it was this massive explosion. Even from 10 blocks away, it was very scary. We kept looking around like more planes were coming. That's what we thought.
You know, we lived around the corner from St. Vincent's Hospital, which was the closest hospital to the towers. This is where they're going to bring everybody. But there weren't any sirens because there were so few survivors. That was something that hit us.
Just like the generations before us tried to talk about the importance of Pearl Harbor, this is a moment when America's bubble burst. Our sense of security in our own homes in America was shattered. And I think that's what impacted people the most, is this feeling that, wow, I'm really not as safe as I thought I was.
Gordy was working in his office and heard about the plane going into the other tower. He stayed there because they provided sort of like a PA announcement, essentially. Came over this loudspeaker and said, you know, we think everything's fine in this tower, everybody should stay where they are. And so he remained in the tower and then was there until the second plane hit. So we're checking hospitals, we're checking, you know, with friends and family, trying to find anybody who knew anything, and we couldn't find anything from anybody. I think we all felt something. We all felt a sense of loss. We all felt like, you know, he wasn't coming back. We didn't have closure until we, you know, received word from New York that they had discovered his wallet to start with. And so they sent us the wallet, what was it, credit cards and all those kind of things, you know, dry cleaning bill. So we had that. And so I think at that point, we knew that he was gone.
My brother Tom was in New York. He decided to come home early because it was his daughter's first day of school and it was kindergarten. After this plane took off, 4 terrorists appeared and took over the cockpit. The plane turned and obviously they were being hijacked. When my brother could, he called his wife, Dina, who was in San Francisco. Dina had the news on, so she was able to relay very specific information to him that he could then share with other passengers that were sitting nearby him. He knew after the plane had hit the Pentagon that they had to act fast. So on the last call, when Tom was talking to Dina, she said, "What can I do?" And he said, "I want you to pray, and we're going to do something, Dina. We're going to do something." They decided to make their move when they saw that they were over a rural field and breached the cockpit. The plane crashed, didn't reach its intended destination, which was the nation's capital.
Well, he was larger than life. He was stocky, he was strong, he was loud, he was just a person who, when you walked in the room and you just noticed him.
I remember like looking up to him greatly, going, man, the guy was charismatic. I mean, I knew in junior high, this guy was loaded to 10 with charisma.
Oh, he loved New York. He wanted to be in New York his whole life. I think he was so attracted by the restaurants and the bright lights and Wall Street and all the amazing things about New York. And he had great friends there and they had a great time. That was sort of his dream, was to be working on Wall Street. He loved the view. It always scared me because I don't like heights, but he would definitely bring us out there and and I'd be 20 feet away from the window and he'd be like making fun of me because he's like, "Come on, check it out." And I'd be like, I'm good right here.
He was my brother. I was his younger brother. He unfortunately has become more of a memory to me than tied up in 9/11 than he has. I wish he were still my brother who could be there to help with all of it. I feel like I miss that the most.
My brother was 6 years older than me, and so growing up I obviously looked up to him and followed him around like a puppy, basically. He taught me how to throw the ball. Like I played football with he and his friends, so I could throw a football. I could do all the sports, and he kind of admired that, so I felt pretty cool about that. I loved him dearly, and I know he loved me. He loved the outdoors. He loved hunting and fishing, being on the lake. He loved American history big time. He was kind of the life of our family, you know, being the middle boy. It was, you know, definitely a big hole when, you know, without him there. Tom's daughters are amazing, and that is an amazing living legacy. He would be so proud of them, and I know he is. They started in kindergarten on that day and graduated successfully from high school, college, and grad school. They're successful in volunteerism and being good people. He was a great dad, and I know that he would have liked to be there for those milestones and moments. He was a dad, he was working, he is a son, a brother, and he was called to action on that moment along with the other passengers, and they did what they were called to do.
This type of memorial is important to have, not only the memorial itself, but documenting the stories of the people most directly impacted as a way to provide an educational opportunity for those who, you know, may have not even been born on 9/11 to understand, you know, its context, its time and place, and the stories behind these Minnesotans who were lost and how some provided eyewitness to this event. So,
I want this to be a place that people can come and be comfortable, and people can come and be joyful.
We've designed it in such a way that there's layers of meaning that you could attach to it, right? You can experience it walking by and just read the large bold text. And then when you get right up to the actual artifacts, you need to look down into a recessed enclosure where those artifacts will be. There's a couple of pieces of steel, there's a piece of glass.
We have an incredible flag flown by my childhood best friend, Stuart Howell, or like Captain Stuart Howell.
After 9/11, as we started going in what we called Operations Enduring Freedom and Iraqi Freedom, so these wars overseas, people started to fly flags or other mementos, but flags for people that were special to them back home. Naturally, for me, being close to the Amos family, I said, you know, one of these, I gotta get one of these to the Amos because of everything that went along.
That flag will actually be in a separate enclosure, and I believe what we're intending to do is actually take it out of the enclosure on the 9/11 anniversary, raise it up on a flagpole as part of the ceremony, and then at the end of the day, lower it back down, fold it back up, and return it back into it. This is both for the community, but it's very important to the Amos family.
It's about all of us. It's about the people. This part's hard for me to talk about. The people who gave up essentially their lives to walk around and sort of try to figure out if they could help find remains. Doing that for a year, I can't imagine doing that. The people who ran into the building when I'm sure every part of them wanted to run away, the people they didn't know that they were going to go try to save, everybody that was involved in that day and everybody afterwards.
I hope that this next generation has an opportunity to visit the memorial here in Wayzata and share stories about what has happened on that date, but also find it inside of them to that patriotic spirit that they can do something in their lives, that they can respond and be an active participant in our citizenship and our country.
It took me a while to understand what impact it had on the world and how everybody was grieving, and the stories people would tell me about I moved back from New York because I moved back from Washington, D.C. because I wanted to be closer to home, and so just the real impact on a lot of people's lives necessarily weren't a part of it, but felt like it was something that transformational and it changed their lives too. I don't think we knew about that or processed that initially, but I think over time we appreciate it more.
After September 11th, neighbors helped neighbors. There were people, volunteers, first responders, the firefighters. Everybody was an American, and they were willing to help, support one another, and things were different.
What unites us is our common humanity, our desire for the same things. We want to be part of something productive in our lives. We want to have family and friends. We want to belong. We want to give. We want to enjoy what's good in life. We want to lean on each other when we go through what's bad in life.
Yeah, it's been the largest, single challenge I've had to face as transitioning into an adult or throughout my life. Things, you know what I mean? How to be there, how to show up for others. The more uncomfortable things in life, that they exist, and I think, that's a hard lesson to learn.
My brother used to say this, life is for the living. And he would say to my parents, what are you going to do next? What are we going to do? And he always inspired them to take trips and see things, learn things. And in that spirit, I would say that hug your families. Yeah, this is my sister Martha. This is my brother Tom, and there's me. Appreciate every day that we have as a family, as a community, as a country. Life is short, so we don't need to be spending our time fighting about things that don't matter. That's for sure.
Be appreciative of every day you have in life. Be appreciative of every relationship you have. Care about each other. Don't be afraid to be happy and proud to be an American, where we live in a place where we take great pains to make sure that you have the freedom and security that we have here.